All right, everybody, welcome back to Top 5 Everything, Volume 17. They keep trying to shut us down, but they can't. Drew Brees sent the NFL after us again for posting a video of a superior quarterback. But you won't win, Drew. You'll never stop us. As everybody can see, we have another all John lineup this week. The John Boys, as we're joined by none other than Mr. Christopher John. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thank you, son. Glad to be here. You want me to
So,
take it from here?
You can take it from here.
All right. Good evening, guys. I'm really excited to be on the show today. I'm hopefully we're going to have a lot of fun. And I just want to pass on to the viewers that one of my bucket lists, which I really don't have, items was a podcast. And I was talking to Ryan and Danny about this for a couple of years, and they said, "Why don't you do one?" I was like, "Okay, you're right." So they start one, and I'm on the number 1 or 2 weeks, right? Week 12, 15. What is it, 17, 20?
We had to get Conus on.
Okay, all right. You're right about that. And Ronnie, it's great to be on with you. I want to congratulate you on your wedding. Unfortunately, Cindy and I couldn't be there because of a car accident. But, I really wanted to see you riding in on the horse into the venue. Not to be, but I saw the picture. And to my sons, I was lucky enough to coach a lot of their friends and other kids in Berwyn Heights and College Park. And also got to know a lot of these guys. I went to the University of Maryland, like Ronnie, and I'll tell you, all of them are good people, and they've really been successful in their life and careers. So I just want to shout out to all your friends and those guys that I knew. And I guess I doubt that I will be politically correct at all times in my thought or my speak, but I hope you apologize in advance for that. I will. And just go ahead, Ryan.
Do you have any more thoughts?
I do, buddy.
Keep going.
All right. And I'll just let you into a little thing of the reasoning for my picks. And the first elimination I did of Olympic events, was a lot of the new events that they have are really just bogus. They really should not be considered winter or summer Olympic events. If you look at the list, there's things like sport climbing, skateboarding, trampoline, and sailing and 3-on-3 basketball. You probably don't have any fans for any of those events anyway, other than the parents.
Whoa. Trampoline. Whoa. I mean, they're saying, what are these guys throwing javelin? They're like, what kind of event is that? Trampoline, baby.
What, the javelin, the death throw versus, a trampoline? But they probably have a screen around it.
All you got to do is time it and you jump right over that death thing or whatever you called it. Death spear.
Oh, God, that's what we'll have. Put the mesh up for don't want to get hurt. So, and I will just note that we haven't had sports on ESPN for a long, long time. And what was still on that calendar, it wasn't any of these suck-ass Olympic events that I just mentioned. It was cornhole and Korean baseball. So any of those events could not fill that much airwave time on ESPN. They shouldn't be.
I like the way they play baseball in Korea better than here too.
Yeah. I couldn't even watch past one inning. I didn't, I don't know the language. So
why don't you save the hate for other people's picks, and we'll start you with your number 1.
I want to send my intro.
We'll start you with your number 5.
All right. Well, let me quickly say that what I didn't choose, the sports that I didn't choose were the ones that have pro athletes in them. So you won't find any of those on my list. And I did pick some just women's events and some just men's events. And then I picked a couple that were men and women Olympic events. So that's
sounds sexist.
Absolutely. It is. Big time. So let me go into my number 5 pick. And Dan, if you can pop that picture up, that would be great for me. There we go. My number 5 top Olympic event is none other than beach volleyball. I just don't know where else you would find the great attire, the sun and the fun, and just the happy people and great athletes. These women and men are great athletes. But I had to pick the women's beach volleyball team. They just were a little better recently, had more names that I knew, and I just think that they're a very good sport. I just would point out that there were a couple other events that almost made it to top 5, but I just think that I chose the beach volleyball for a good reason. I was thinking about ski jumping. It's a kind of cool event, and there he is, my boy Eddie the Eagle, the 1988 Olympian from Great Britain, who was drunk from the time he landed to the time he went back. He sort of brought a lot of notoriety to England in that event. And then in that same Olympics, 1988, you also had the 4-man bobsled team from Jamaica. And so even without those guys, the 4-man bobsled was a pretty cool sport. And that would have been my top 5. It could have been. So, you have ice, you have reggae music, and, you got a lot of weight going down with little breaks. So that's a pretty cool event. But as I wander on, I'm going back to my beach volleyball. Ronnie?
Yeah, I love the beach volleyball pick for women, I guess in general as well, but for women specifically. Anytime you can wear a visor and some sunglasses while you're playing a sport, super cool. I think it's just really hard to run around on sand, and not only that, but like dig out the spikes that the other team is doing and bump it into the air. It's just 2-on-2, so you really have to work in sync with your teammate. You can't creep up if your teammate's already crept up. You have to sort of stay back and in position. So great pick. It's a great sport. I love watching it every 4 years. Well, not this year, but
yeah.
That's right. Next year, I'm gonna, that's right, Ronnie. Every day, it's like this podcast. I bump, set, and spike your ass every week, son. Yeah, great pick. I'm gonna talk about it a little bit later on, so I'm not gonna get specific into it on this one. I did find it weird that you picked the Russian team since we have good USA beach volleyballers to pick from. You could have picked a picture that was a little bit more representative of us as a nation. However, the other two that you mentioned, if you talk about it, you talk about how much of an athlete people on volleyball are, but then you're talking about a guy drunk on skis just trying to land. And then some dudes jumping in a metal container saying they're navigating or steering it on ice. It's worse than NASCAR. So I don't know. The other two are a little sketchy. They might be fun to watch because I'm an Olympics fan. This is where I get it from. I get it from my dad. Even Ryan did not inherit the Olympics love that I and my father have. But good number 5 to start off. Throw it to Ryan to see what his thoughts are.
Yeah, I think it's a good number 5. Specifically, like Misty May and Kerry Walsh, of how dominant they were during their time. I always remember watching and be like, man, this Misty May chick's incredible. She's like 5'2". She was like 5'9". It's just that Kerry Walsh was like 6'3". She was a giant. But, being able to cover that much space with 2 people is insanely difficult. It's tough enough with like 5 people. So I don't know how they do it. So hats off to them. So I think it's a good number 5.
Good stuff.
Ronnie. Yeah,
Ronnie. Right, yeah. My number 5 is an event that's now defunct, but it combined real world problems with athletic prowess. And of course, I'm talking about live pigeon shooting. 1900 was the only time they had live pigeon shooting. The guy from France won. I don't know what his name is, but I hate pigeons. And I think they did back in 1900 as well. I think that later on they switched everything to clay, so you have clay pigeon and skeet and trap shooting. But there's nothing like the real thing. And I don't think I know anyone that likes pigeons, and if they do, I'm sorry. Well, I know Mike Tyson does. Sorry, Mike Tyson.
Yeah, Tyson's not a guy. I mean, Drew Brees, fuck that guy, but Tyson's not a guy we want to piss off. So that's what we'll say. Yeah, I mean, I mean, the live pigeon part of it is a little bit wacky, but you know what I mean. That sport in general, like I think it's cool because I think like there's a couple events, and this is one of them where like you can win like at like 7 different Olympics. You know what I mean? Because you mean like you can just sit there and shoot a gun until you're like 70. I think there is somebody that has won like 5 or 6 of the gold medals in the last Olympics in like a couple of those shooting events. Like they have a couple now, and I know they have like the clay pigeons now, but they actually have like a rifle, I think, as well. So it's an interesting event to me just because of how wide ranging the people can win. Can like you don't have to be like in your prime. I feel like like in your 20s or 30s to win. So interesting pick. So Dad, Ryan, what do you think?
I think it's a good pick. I know the Sporty Thieves don't like pigeons because they don't want no pigeons. Of course, someone from France won it because they eat that foul shit all the time over in France. Those dirty motherfuckers. Wow. It's got to be a hard event because I mean, how do you pick the pigeons? I mean, some are probably super active, some are probably docile and just sit there. So it's probably hard to judge that event. I'd love to know what the judging was, but it's an interesting pick, and probably I'd watch it, which is more than I can say for most Olympic events. So good number 5.
That's right.
All right, this was a pretty good reach back. A little history lesson for all of us about the pigeon shooting contest. I just wonder where they did it. Like most pigeons are on the top of roofs, right? So they just, all right, everybody up to the top floor. You let go your pet pigeons and shoot them. But very good pick for the number 5. I like the little historical aspect of it. Don't have much bad to say about that.
All right, so I'm gonna roll into my number 5 then, if you guys don't mind. This is a sport that I wish got a little bit more play here in the United States. It seems like a really fun game that really just does not, I don't think, get the respect it deserves here in the U.S. But it's a little sport they call handball. They have male and female versions. These are looks like I think the Dutch ladies versus the Brazilians, but I like the picture because you can see these, they're like checking each other out. Like look at that box out by the Dutch lady right there in the front. I mean, Dad, you were a coach, man. Look what that elbow placement is. I mean, you're talking about a perfect box out. You're able to use some skills from basketball and dodgeball. You basically get to throw a ball at somebody's head and try to score, but you throw it at a goal. And like I've seen some people get hit. It's pretty funny sometimes when that happens. But it seems like pretty athletic, but it seems pretty cool and like just a little bit different sport than we see here in the U.S. So at number 5, handball came in for me.
And Danny, what's going on with that? The one woman there. Where's her hand going? What's she doing there?
I don't know. She's playing handball, man. You don't know where hands are going to end up. You know what I mean?
All right, good enough. They don't even have a thoughts.
Handball's a good pick. I like how aggressive it is and how in their face they are. I mean, a lot of women's sports in America, they have the bubble where you can't go into a certain zone, like in lacrosse and stuff like that, which is kind of bullshit. So I like how they get in each other's face. So it's a good number 5.
Thanks.
Dad?
Dan, is that a summer event or winter event, or they just play year round?
It's all the time, baby.
All the time?
Yep.
They got a pro league?
Nope.
No pro league?
All right. I think there is a pro league, actually. But I don't know that the pros play. I'm not sure about that.
All right. They got to get a sponsor for the shoes and the socks. Other than that, I'm okay with that pick. What's not to like? Women throwing stuff, and it's cool. It's all right with me. Is there a men's event too? You didn't pick that one?
Yeah, there's a men's event. The men's are intense, man. They throw the hell out of that ball, man.
That wasn't the men's pitcher?
No. You should see the guy. I mean, the Dutch are like the best though. I feel like they're like monsters. I can understand why. Look at Martin Scholes. His wingspan's like 7'9". You know what I'm saying? The guy can like reach halfway down the field before releasing the ball.
Yeah, I like the pick. You know, I didn't even think about handball. I always thought handball was like squash, but with your hand. I guess handball is like soccer, but with your hands. So I didn't even know it existed until right now. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's like one of those sports where you like. I remember like playing sports like that at recess in elementary school. You know, you're just like playing something you make up and stuff like that. It's a little less violent than Keep Away probably, which is the most violent game ever. But yeah, it's a good pick. I like it.
You think the U.S. would be good at it, but just not. They don't get that practice in. It's like football, soccer, man.
Very hands-on here.
All right, Rye.
All right, so for my number 5, if Ronnie wouldn't mind sharing my pitcher for me,
Gotcha.
I'm going with probably the most accessible Olympic sport out there. I'm going with table tennis, which, I mean, pretty much anybody can play table tennis. Pretty much everyone has played table tennis. And, I mean, the things these athletes can do is amazing. I mean, the way they spin the ball, playing, 20 feet away from the table. I mean, Martin actually hired an ex-Olympic table tennis player for his bachelor party. And, the things she could do with that ping pong were amazing. So, I mean, that's why table tennis is taking my number 5. Dad, any thoughts?
Well, I don't know, Ryan. Has the Americans ever had a good table tennis guy?
No, because we play real sports.
So how can this be number 5?
Forrest Gump.
Because there's 4 better sports coming up.
All right. No, table tennis is kind of a cool sport. I really like it, and when you're playing somebody good, it's very hard. So I'll say kudos on that pick, Ryan.
Ryan, this is a great pick. Table tennis, or as I like to call it, ping pong, is one of my favorite things to do when I'm not outside playing real sports. It's a miniature version of a sport, which is awesome. And the best part about it is you think you can play well until you play against someone that's really good and just kick the crap out of you because they're putting spin on the ball. They're, spiking it on you. And it's not just about getting the ball back over the net. You got to throw your opponent off. You got to hit him with the spin, hit him with some shenanigans so that you keep them off kilter and then take them out. I think the Chinese are really good at it. I think they win every year, if I'm correct or not. But we know how much DJ hates China, so anything that DJ hates, I like.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like stuff they do is crazy. Love playing some, table tennis. The Shoals had a table over at their house. Jack getting into those games, man, and I remember Martin was really good, and I made Martin play me left-handed because we both sucked left-handed, so it made it easier, or like more competitive because he'd always beat me right-handed. But yeah, I think it's a good number 5, a good way to get the list started.
Dad, you want to go into your number 4?
I can do that. My number 4, we're getting back to some of the more popular Olympic events as far as I'm concerned. And there we go. My number 4 top Olympic events are the men's and the ladies singles, the freestyle events. And, the men and the women just do incredible things on the ice, jumps and triple jumps and quadruple jumps. It's just amazing that they can do that and land and still smile at the same time. The women are a little more athletic to me, or just graceful, a little more graceful, I guess, to me than the men. But I like both of them. They are one of the top events, and they both do these moves like the axle, which is really difficult to do. But I was reading just getting ready for this. The association just banned the backflip from figure skating. I think that was a bad move on their part. Probably shouldn't have done that. It could have become really something new in the future, but they banned it. And back to that picture, Dan, if you could. This is the picture of Brian Boitano, who was a famous figure skater, won the gold medal in 1988. And just a little story I read about Brian in 2013. He was out with friends and family, and he decided that that was the right time to tell them that he was coming out of the closet and that he was gay. I guess, I would have to argue that as this picture shows, I think Brian came out of the closet a lot earlier than 2013. You, Robbie.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Chris. I'm gonna have to hate on this pick.
Please do.
Skating is freestyle is judged. It's open to corruption. Also, it is a professional sport. I've seen Mickey Mouse. I'm pretty sure he won an Olympic event several times on ice. Also, Aladdin and Genie for some reason on ice. But no, although I'm not discrediting the sport at all, I can barely ice skate. So when I put skates on, I can go forward. I can't stop. That's why I need the walls. These people never use the walls unless it's a mistake. And I don't know how the heck you leave your feet and then land again without breaking your ankle. So it's extremely difficult. I'm not saying it isn't, but I hate how it's judged. I remember the one Olympics with Nancy Kerrigan and Oksana Bayul, and she got robbed, and then Tanya Harding.
That was a lot of drama.
Tanya Harding's been the greatest thing that happened to that sport, to be honest with you. So I think because it's judged and it isn't absolute, but I do like the sport.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, Ron. I didn't even think about that. I saw these professionals this year up in Baltimore at the Chicken Box. They were doing all kinds of fucking backflips. I'll tell you what, they were all, fucking Ariel, who's a fucking underwater princess, was doing all kinds of shit, climbing up ropes, getting spun around. So I'm a little disappointed that the limitations that they're putting on. I will say I do like the sport. I don't like that it's judged, because I feel like it is, like anything that's judged like that, it's like can be corrupt, and I don't know what to look for in those situations, so it's not like I can really understand if they got fucked or not. But I do like the women more, and I think the reason why is because I feel like you can tell how high they get off the ground. I mean, shit, you just go from, you see Michael Jordan jump from the foul line, dunking on someone. You don't care about a dude jumping on ice, but you see a female getting that kind of with that kind of power. And it's probably the same thing for the men, but I mean, you just see men jumping all the time, I guess. And for women on, I just feel like it's like a more, I don't know how to describe it, but I do think that it's more entertaining to watch the women. So I'm not going to hate totally on the number 4. Ryan, what are your thoughts?
I think it's a good number 4. I mean, they definitely got the best outfits in any sport. I mean,
right. How many sparkles can you have? That's
exactly
cool.
I mean, they probably have some of the most versatile athletes out there. I mean, we saw how former Olympic figure skater Ken Wu was able to take his skating talents and transition into becoming a hockey player. I mean, he was definitely a true standout among the Mighty Ducks. I mean, he was one of the best ones out there.
That's true.
So, I'm gonna like it for a number 4 pick.
All right.
Ron, you want to get into your number 4?
Yeah, give me a second. Let me get it up here. It's not opening real quick. I need this GIF to open. Hang on a second. Sorry, guys.
Ooh.
Why is this not working?
Looks like Chris John's making some last minute notes.
I am.
To try to offend more people before.
Got to react to the commentary that I've gotten so far, dude.
All right, I don't know why it's not working, but my number 4 is the biathlon. For those who don't know what the biathlon is, it's a skiing and shooting event. You notice the theme with all my events, I was shooting in it so far. To me, it's crazy because if you think about it, it's hard enough to ski, and then all of a sudden you gotta stop, you gotta aim your rifle and shoot a bunch of different things. It's about 5 targets, and then you gotta make it like another lap, and then try doing it again. So for me, the biathlon is something that I feel like is very difficult, and I finally found the GIF of it. It's finally up, so here it is. Usually there isn't a guy dressed in all leather standing next to you, but extreme concentration is needed to both ski and shoot. And the adrenaline pumping from your skiing, it's hard to aim. So I feel like they're true athletes, and it's not something that's very practical. So that's why I think it's cool.
Yeah, this is a terrible pick. You keep on saying skiing. It's cross-country skiing, okay? It's basically walking or whatever. Now they have the guy that poops himself that's like the power walker. Like, that's an Olympic sport. Cross-country skiing is the power walking of skiing, okay? Now, send somebody down a fucking mountain with a gun, like doing that slope-style shit, or maybe even on the half-pipe. Every once in a while, they got to shoot the gun while they're in midair. Like, that's an event. You know what I mean? Like, fuck the cross-country shit. That shit is boring as hell. Might as well be running a marathon. And then the shooting, it's like, where are the live pigeons at, baby? Give me some entertainment.
Yeah, Ronnie, I'm going to have to disagree with this pick. This is kind of a bad pick. It reminds me of, like, boxing and chess, how they do that, where they go around boxing and they play a thing of chess, except not interesting at all. I mean, this is why the NRA is saying that we need guns to do this stupid shit.
Yeah.
We got to keep guns around so we can do this cross-country bullshit. That's just a bad number 4, bad event. Bad.
Save me, Chris.
Save you, Ronnie. God, Ronnie, I wish I could, buddy, but this is a suck-ass bitch pick here. I tell you, this is like been one of the sports that I just dread, and I don't even know why these people would go. What do you go train for months, 90 kilometers and 50 kilometers? You want to go like miles and then lay down on the ground and shoot little bullseyes? I mean, if you're going to hunt, go do that. But don't give me this. I just have never liked it. I mean, what are they? You never know who's in front, Hans, or it's never an American,
It's true.
It's kind of tough to keep, track of what's going on here and who the winner is.
More important events to worry about, all right? We got the triathlon to worry about.
That's true. All right, Ronnie, I'll quit hating on it. That's the end of my critique.
All right.
Danny, you want to get into your number 4?
So my number 4, I had to slide in. I felt like I had to slide in a skiing event just because I do really like skiing. But moguls just seems like, how the hell do these guys not blow out their knees like every single time down, the mountain? Not only do they do that part where they're like racing like on like fucking little mounds of snow, there's also a part of the event where all of a sudden dudes are just upside down flying through the air. You know what I'm saying? Doing tricks, doing spins. I know that part is judged, but man, it is intense. I feel like trip down the mountain. I just think it's a cool event. I'm not like I tried skiing once. I tried anything pretty much one time, and then that didn't work out. So I get real impressed by people that can ski and do these kind of things. So for my number 4 event, I put moguls in there to represent skiing for me because I think skiing in general, I wanted to specify which event because they all are individual events. So Moguls is my number 4. Any thoughts, Rye?
I wish you picked another event. I kind of hate this event. It reminds me of CrossFit, where they just do something wrong to deliberately hurt themselves. I mean, their bodies are getting fucked up. I don't know how why you would train yourself to be able to do this is shocking to me. So this one specifically is a no-go for me. Dan?
Well, Dan, I'm not a big fan of skiing, but I do like some of the skiing events, and this isn't one of the ones I like. Just because I've had bad knees, it just hurts me watching it. But this seems almost like one that they could electronically generate, on someplace in a studio, that it's not really even an event somebody's actually doing. They got the old, all that stuff on. You can't see their face. They're upside down. I don't know that real people could do that event. So I sort of like it, but I sort of don't.
This is the guy that had ski jumping in number 5, everybody.
It was almost 5.
I really like this conspiracy theory of it actually not happening. I'm
telling you, I've been to these events that, it's like in a room. You got some geek doing this shit.
It's like
he's fooled everybody. It's conspiracy theories all through this Olympic, Ronnie. It goes throughout society. This is just a little glimpse into how that goes.
Danny, I love this pick.
Thanks.
I used to play this game on my computer called like Free Ski or something like that. It was exactly like this. The only thing I don't like about the real life version is there's not a Yeti at the end that eats you. You can't escape at all. But no, I think it's hard, man. Like that's got to be horrible on your ankles, knees, and hips, and then to be able to jump in the air. And you're right, it is judged, so you have to get negative points for that. But when they're racing down there, it's tough, and I like it how it isn't like a very straightforward event. It's got some nuance to it, like the biathlon, which has lots of nuance. So
biathlon.
All right, so
nuance, good, Danny. That's a critique that's good. Nuance.
So for my number 4, I'm going into an event that I was actually surprised was an actual Olympic event with wrestling. I mean, it's great to actually see an actual sport in the Olympics. I mean, it turns out that Kurt Angle is actually the only Olympic gold medalist in wrestling. A lot of the other champions get belts, which I guess they consider more prestigious than other Olympic events. I mean, wrestling has had to provide some of the all-time best Olympic moments. I mean, who can forget Hulk Hogan versus the Iron Sheik at the '84 Olympics to win the first Olympic wrestling belt? Or Santino Marella hitting the Cobra against the Great Khali to win Italy their first Olympic gold medal ever. I mean, wrestling's so incredible, it's just hard to believe it's real sometimes. Dad, any thoughts on wrestling?
I don't even know what I could say about that, Ryan. I do like Kurt Angle jumping out of the ring, but
great pick.
I'd give it a B.
All right,
above average. B. We have grades like that.
Yeah,
I'd give it an 8. I'd give it an 8.0 on the Olympic scale.
I think this is a great pick. Wrestling in and of itself is such a tiring thing to do. You don't really realize how tired you get wrestling someone else until you're like 15 seconds into it, and you're like, "What the hell have I gotten myself into?" It really is a feat of endurance, and you're using all your muscles. So if you think about it, wrestling, and it was an original Olympic event. It's such a inherently, human thing. Kids wrestle without knowing what it is, like calling it wrestling and stuff like that. So to me, it really is the ultimate Olympic sport, and that's why the Ultimate Warrior was champion at one point, because he was the ultimate. But yeah, and on another note, Kurt Angle really did win a gold medal with a broken neck in the Olympics, like for real. So big props to him. He was pretty good at it. And so Brock Lesnar. But I don't think you can compete in the Olympics. You just compete collegiately.
So I'm going to show a little bit of love to the actual Greco-Roman wrestling that is in the actual Olympics. As much as I love Kurt Angle diving on people from stages and such like that, we had a whole episode about it. But the Greco-Roman, I'll give it its shining in moment in the sun here. My man Dick Messier, Frostburg graduate, led DeMatha to like 28 straight wrestling titles, and those motherfuckers were crazy as shit. And when you got to know how to they actually to do some of that stuff, it was badass. And some of those dudes were most dedicated athletes, cutting weight, minutes before fights, stuff like that. So much respect to real Greco-Roman wrestling as well as real Kurt Angle jumping on people wrestling. So good number 4.
Thanks. Dad, you want to take us to your number 3?
Sure. My number 3 pick, and I think this is probably a pretty popular pick, even know that before I say it, but my number 3 pick is women's gymnastics. And the women's gymnastics events are all, need a lot of skill to do them all. There's 4 events in the all-around, which I think is the best women's event in gymnastics. They have to have a mastery of all these things: the vault, the balance beam. Running on the balance beam is kind of a crazy thing. And the thing I like a lot is how competitive the American women have gotten in the last 12 years or so. It used to be that they really didn't have great gymnastic athletes, but as this picture shows, that was sort of a crazy time when Carrie Shrug did the vault with a broken ankle and landed it on one foot, and they won the all-around, I think. It was an exciting event, and I think it does bring a lot of excitement, even though they're, don't get a lot of playing time elsewhere except at the Olympics. I like the men's events. They show a lot of strength and stuff like that, but the women show strength and artistic ability as well. So my number 3 top pick for the Olympics is women's figure skating. Not figure skating, women's gymnastics. Sorry about that.
No, I'm all down for women's gymnastics, man. I don't know how the hell they do that horse, the wooden horse or whatever. They're spinning around on it. A lot of people don't understand how. I mean, you look at them and see how muscular they are. But that's another event like wrestling where you use every muscle in your body, and for them to fly in the air and do twists and turns and spins, I want to throw up just looking at it. How do you even know how many spins you did? How do you count? You gotta have your eyes open, and I'm sure a lot of them hurl and stuff like that. So that stuff's crazy, man. That's a good pick.
Well, I apologize. I think I put in there something besides gymnastics. So that's sort of what I was talking about, the women's gymnastics.
Yeah, no, that you were talking about. I do like your time frames a little off though. Like you said, 12. I think that was that picture was from 1996, I believe.
No.
So that would be 24 years ago.
No.
And I remember that because we were in North Carolina on vacation when that shit happened. When I was 14 years old. So
I meant to say 24.
So the women have been relevant for a while. The men seem to never be relevant, which is part of the reason why I think I don't follow as much, because they do some of the crazy shit too. When they're doing the rings, I'm how their arms don't get, I don't know how they don't come out of their sockets, doing stuff like that. But yeah, the women, much respect to everything they do. We've had, Dominique Dawes, right? She's from Silver Spring. Much respect to the local, Olympians as well. But yeah, it's a great I love watching that. It's one of my favorites. I figured someone would put it on there. I didn't have. I was gonna put it as my my one in my like top 5, but I figured someone would have it. They're always a lot of fun just to watch because that team aspect of it. I do not like the judging part of it. Again, it's kind of like one of those things that I don't know what they're judging for, and and they're like, this is how hard it is, and it's like 1.6 multiplier. I'm like, it's like when you're getting algebra involved and shit, it's a little bit, you got to show me something. It's hard to like just tell who won. So, but it's a great event to watch, and it's a lot of fun because like, yeah, like Ronnie said, I mean, I got some big calves, but those ladies and guys, man, they never miss leg day. Let's just put it
Yeah,
that
and
way.
I'll tell you, the women have done great. The gold medal women have, even before the U.S. women, Nadia Comaneci, and, Mary Lou Retton was, I guess, the first American. So you're right, Danny. I was way off on the time frame. But just because I'm 65, I was like, I don't remember an Americans ever being good.
They've
Right.
almost become dominant. And I feel like in the last probably 12 or so years with
But I
like
mean,
Gabby Douglas and
Carrie Struck did that on one leg. She did a vault and a flip, and she landed on one leg. That's crazy.
she had to because her leg was broke.
Yeah,
Her fucking leg was broke. Right.
That guy, their coach was a little sketchy though. I don't know.
He was from Russia though.
Something about him, man. I'm like, he's doing something weird.
He was actually really famous, and then like his wife took over for him. She might still be part of the program.
I think she is.
He was around for a long time. It seemed to be well respected, not like the Michigan folks.
Michigan State.
Michigan State?
Yeah.
Michigan State, sorry.
Yeah, this is a fantastic pick. I mean, specifically that year that you were talking about. I hate Carrie Strug, actually. I think she's super fucking annoying. But the Olympics team that year, I mean, I think Dominique Dawes was my first crush as a kid. I used to be fucking in love with her. And then find out that she's from Maryland, which is even cooler. So, I mean, gymnastics overall is definitely some of the best stuff to watch on the Olympics. So, great number 3.
All right.
Ronnie, can you keep it going?
Yes.
Another excellent pick.
I think I can redeem myself here for my number 3 pick. I'm going with the original sport. That is sprinting. Specifically the 100 and the 200 meter. Sprinting, racing is a classic thing that everyone's done in their life. Pretty much every other event we have here, not everyone's participated in except racing. Or I guess some people haven't, but for the most part, you're a kid, you've raced other people, and Usain Bolt is just the reason I picked this, because this man is a madman. He's older than all these guys here by a good 5 or 6 years. Way past the prime running age. These are the fastest men in the world, and he's crushing them like it's nothing. He holds the world record in the 200 meter. I think it's 19.19 seconds, which means he's running 10 meters faster than every second, which to me is absolutely insane. Like 10 meters, that's 30 feet every second. That's crazy. And to be that fast must be real fun. So I love sprinting. I love watching it every year. That's why sprinting is my number 3.
Yeah, I've never sprinted. I can say that there are people that haven't done it because I've never done it. Even when we did field day in elementary schools, there's a couple of events that you're allowed to sit out. I always sat out sprinting or whatever the running thing was. The only thing that would make that event cool, I think, is like if there was like a cop following them. You know what I'm saying? Like you're running or like a lion or something cool. I mean, a lion is a little bit, a cop's like kind of like, he might catch him. I mean, a lion will definitely catch him, I feel like. So, but something like that, add some suspense to it. Just straight running in a straight line, it's kind of like, I guess it's all right. At least some of them dudes fucking hurdle shit. So I'm not as big on this one. Ryan, any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not liking this too much. I mean, crab walking is definitely the superior event. I mean, why would anyone just walk, run? I mean, that's boring. I mean, I remember I used to crush Ronnie in crab walking all the time. Doesn't want to, doesn't want to rematch me. And this is another one of those events where they have 100-meter, 200-meter. Stop having all these stupid things. Have one fucking thing to see who's the fastest. Let's, we don't need 100, 200, 400, whatever. Make one race, and that's all we need. So, kind of hate it.
Whoa, man. Can't believe my two sons are hating on my favorite event in high school. I love track and field. I ran every year I was in high school. I didn't run the 100-meter, or I didn't do the sprints. I was a full distance guy, but I loved track and field my whole life. Ran until I couldn't anymore when I was about 45. But it was always to me, just an event in the sport that I really liked. And yeah, I can see where they have too many events, but certainly the sprints are great. Some of the track and field, the field events are amazing. The distance events are great. There was a guy named Dave Waddle. If you ever want to see a comeback, this guy came back from like half a lap behind the leaders and passed everybody, and the last turn and ended up winning the race in the Olympics. I think it was a great distance run. And that's boring as hell. You run, you watch a little bit, then they come back 20 minutes later and show you the end of it. That's not too cool. But I do like the sprints, and I do like the hurdle events. So I have to say, good pick, Ron.
Thanks, Chris. And then you need that. I needed a good pick.
Yeah, I saw someone recently, they're like, oh, an American beat Bolt's record, substantially, and then it was like, oh, he ran from 75 meters. It's like, what? How did you get that wrong? I just don't understand it. So I'll move on to my number 3. That's going to be brief because we've already discussed it, but I am going to give them their shout out and give the right team the shout out and put the right team on the screen. That's Misty May and Carrie Walsh. Now talk about longevity. I feel like they've been in like 5 Olympics at least as well. They're always competitive. It's amazing what they do. The beach volleyball, like men and women, I feel like always gets like intense. It's amazing what they can do. I know like the scoring's different than like the indoor and the outdoor, where like it's a lot harder. It's a lot, where you score a lot of like people get a lot of aces and stuff. You gotta be good at, but you gotta be good at just like Ronnie said, digging the ball out. Some stuff that like I feel like when I walk on sand, it's like quicksand, like I'm sinking, which I probably am. So anything done on sand, like with this amount of athleticism, much respect to both the men and the women out there on the sand throwing it down. So that's my number 3, even though we talked about it. So Ryan, why don't you go ahead and jump into yours?
Yeah. So for my number 3, I'm going with a sport where the athletes are so amazing at it that I don't even understand how they do what they're doing. I mean, I don't know how you get, and of course I'm talking about badminton. I mean, I don't know how you get a tiny, flimsy racket and can hit a shuttlecock 100 miles an hour. I mean, where Olympic badminton players are in the spectrum of the sport compared to me, it's probably the largest of any Olympic sport. I mean, I beat Joe Hunter, an Olympic level basketball player in horse, in front of his girlfriend, who immediately dumped him afterwards. I mean, I can hang with Olympic athletes, just not in badminton. I mean, these guys are incredible. So that's why it's taking my number 3. Dad, any thoughts on badminton?
Well, my thoughts keep coming to, they chose badminton. Why can't they choose Patty's game, pickleball, which is sort of the same kind of event, I think. But why are they always on that one side of the court? Just seems like they're all playing over there. I don't know that I've ever watched badminton, and maybe for that I'm not as I'd have to put that on my list of things to watch when the Olympics come around. It's amazing these guys can do what they can do with that, shuttlecock, as you said, and place it and the speed they put on it. Wasn't one of my tops, but I can understand why you put it there.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to hate on this pick here. Badminton was the high school sport that people played just so they can put it on their resume for college. And it's not as cool as tennis. It's not as cool as volleyball. It's something in between, and it's a lot worse. And also, the British, I believe, came up with it. Anything the British come up with is terrible. So, sorry, Ryan.
Anything the British come up with is terrible. I do agree with that. I feel like this is one of those sports where the other countries in the world, like the smarter countries, they're like, all right, everybody, we're not going to be able to compete against the USA in basketball or, some of these like other or like the swimming or, the gymnastics. So we're going to put our best athletes, the two best people we got in the country are playing badminton with each other. You know what I mean? So it's like these random ass countries are like really good at it because they know they can't compete in other stuff, so they load them up on it's like, all right, the worst. Because imagine fucking LeBron James out there fucking hitting that shuttlecock. You thinking that motherfucker it'll burn a hole in the floor when it hit. Someone like him. So I don't know, kind of weird. I feel like U.S. could dominate in that sport too if they knew what a shuttlecock was. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass it to pass that one to the next.
All right, Dad, do you want to go ahead and take your number 2?
All right.
LeBron.
Somebody want to say something about LeBron? Dan, can you pick up?
LeBron James would be terrible at badminton. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, I agree with that. My number 2 top Olympic event, I think at least a couple of you may like this and agree with this, is the 50-meter freestyle, the swimming freestyle. It's, considered by a lot of people the top Olympic event, certainly the top Olympic event in swimming. And of course, Maryland's own Michael Phelps is definitely the best man in the sport, and he's the best swimmer of all time. There are other, good and great swimming events. I had to choose one, and I chose the 50 meters freestyle. Look at this guy. I mean, his frame is just amazing, and just how he looks going through the water, so smooth. He won 28 Olympic medals, 23 gold medals. And I know I'm picking events, but it's because of this guy's excellence in this event that I chose it. He's just a great athlete and a great spokesman for Maryland, even though he had some setbacks.
Yeah, this is a great pick. Swimming is extremely difficult. I can barely make it from one end of the pool to the other, let alone it with any speed. I don't really swim, I guess. I call it I don't die. But yeah, like I don't know how you have that type of body control and just really just endurance. I mean, human beings aren't meant to, sort of glide through water and at the speed that they're going, they're using their whole body to propel themselves to go fast. And although I am partial to the backstroke, I was kind of hoping that was going to be on here, but I guess I'll take the Michael Phelps the 200 meter, 500 meter, too many meters to Ryan.
Yeah, I think
50, baby. I don't know if they could swim 500, baby. They do something like that though.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, swimming's a great addition. Obviously, you don't listen to the podcast regularly, or you would have put Katie Ledecky up there like you should have. But respect Michael Phelps for the greatness that it is, even though he's weird and does some kind of crazy shit sometimes. Who knows what happened in the tunnel? We're not sure still what happened there. But at least he wasn't down there pissing in. That's the one thing about this. There was a guy from Rockville that in the last ones that was like pissing in the bathroom and ripping down shit with a couple other boys, and they had to like get escorted out of the country because that's fucking disrespectful as a motherfucker, yo. Right. That shit was the worst. That's why you gotta respect Kate Ledecky. She just shows greatness, but Phelps wasn't a part of it. And that Andy is great. Baltimore is known for some, gotta respect Phelps for that. for building up, like, kind of, I think building the sport back up for Americans almost, I think, in a way that, like, people like from all age, I feel like from a lot of different age groups can like kind of root for him. So, Ryan, thoughts?
This is a terrible pick. Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps won 28 medals for doing the exact same thing over and over again. I mean, I've talked about how much I hate the Olympics on this podcast, and I use Michael Phelps and swimming as my examples. There's too many types of swimming. There only needs to be one event. Swim as fast as you can, whatever way you want. There doesn't need to be different strokes. If there's one preferred stroke or method of swimming, why even teach these other types? Michael Phelps is a super douche. Ryan Locke or whatever, he's even worse. It's an overall bad pick.
Lochte.
So, yeah. So we're going to scoot it over to Ronnie for his number 2.
Wait a minute, Ryan. I mean, what you're going down the path of no Olympic events for track and field except one, none for swimming. We could get the whole Olympics done in what, like 2 hours?
Perfect. It doesn't need to be any longer.
No longer.
We'll be adding more events.
We put them all together. The men, the women's, and the summer events will be together. The guys will start shooting the biathlon at some of the, marathoners. I think you add some excitement to it. I think that's the way to go.
The sooner it's over is the better for me. Ronnie, your number 2?
All right, my number 2. I'm busting out the big guns, of course. I'm talking about everyone's favorite bocce on ice. Yes, I'm talking about curling. Curling is a great Olympic sport. Only the best athletes from every country are selected to curl. They forego other sports because curling is so important. You have your team, you got your stone, you got your sweepers. Essentially the same rules as bocce, but a lot cooler because you got people sweeping the ice. The stone, fun fact, the stone's made out of a special kind of granite from an island off of Ireland. And they're running out because it's only a small island and they're running out of that granite. So, because curling's so popular and everyone loves it. I think it's cool that too, like how random people can just get into it. It's a true amateur sport. I think it's fun. I like watching it. I know other people hate on it, but I like it.
There's gold medalist Matt Hamilton, trained right here in Maryland in Laurel. All right, now that's where the champions are bred. Obviously, we talked a lot about that today. This is a great pick, and I will be talking about it because it's on my list. So I'm going to pass it to Ryan.
Yeah, this is a great pick, Ronnie. I think curling's, perfect example that anything can be entertaining. Like, as long as you have someone to root for and a vague understanding of how the game is played, you take something that's considered super boring and make it into something awesome, which I think curling has done. I mean, like, I'm not going to watch curling if it's on TV, but it's probably the closest Olympic event I'm going to get to watching. So I think it's a great pick, Ronnie.
Thanks, Ryan.
That's curling.
Curling. I'm a little surprised that Danny didn't have this on his list, and maybe it's his.
Oh, it's on there, baby. Just wait for it.
I knew you were loving these guys. I guess it's all right that we have the Olympic Center here in Maryland or in the state of Maryland. I used to play a thing at the bars shuffleboard, which is similar to this, except you usually got better as you got drunk. So I don't know how these guys, prepare for this, but it might be the same technique. I'm sort of neutral on this. I'll watch it if it's on.
I'll take that.
Danny is your number 2.
All right, moving on to number 2. We're going to move back into the pool for an event that I always find super, super awesome to watch, and that is the 4x100 medley relay for the men or women. But I figured, I figured Dad would have stupid Michael Phelps on there, so I wanted to show the women some love. They're the gold medalists from 2016, and the event is cool because one, it makes swimming like a team event, which I really think is pretty dope because I'm all about more team sports for me. I'm liking the team aspect, and it's cool because they do all 4 different strokes, and it's down and back instead of the. I disagree with the 50 meter being. I mean that's like a sprint, just like a sprint. I do like a. I mean, at least do a lap. I mean, I feel like I could at least do one length. I mean, maybe not two, but I'm probably not doing two. So like at least go up there and back. You start with the backstroke, but then they move through to the breast stroke as well, and then the breast, the butterfly, and then they end with the freestyle. It's interesting and a cool way to showcase the different sports. But I feel like if you're going to get rid of all the other events in swimming, that this is the one that you should keep, the medley, so you get a little bit of everything. It's like the buffet of swimming. So, Ryan, any thoughts?
Man, this is a fantastic pick. I love all my different types of swimming. So if you could throw as many different types of swimming at me as you can, I love it. This is like, the poo-poo platter of Olympic events. It's got everything. It's just fantastic. There's nothing like the teammanship of, just how synchronized those, competitors are. So fantastic number 2.
That's right.
I like to pick. I think the women swimmers are great as well, and the Americans are always competitive. And Katie Ledecky, as Danny pointed out, and others have been great. I see Ryan's point. There are probably too many swimming events, but I do think that the one you picked, Danny, the team event and all the different disciplines is pretty amazing that they could do that. And I think it was a good pick.
Yeah, I really like this pick. I like how it's a relay, but they all like specialize in different things. I think that's kind of cool because if you think about it, the Olympics is about competing for your country, right? And so you have a team competing for its country. It's not an individual just doing their thing. You got your whole team stacked together, playing this relay, going up against another country. The Germans and the Russians and those damn Dutch swimmers. They're all really good at swimming, but they can't beat America. And these American ladies, born right here in Montgomery County.
That's right.
Maryland, not Anne Arundel or Howard, Montgomery County, maybe Baltimore, but that's Michael Phelps. We're not talking about him. We're talking about the women. So, great pick, Danny.
All right, that was a great number 2. So I'm going to continue with my great number 2. There's no sport in the world that. Ronnie, can you share my picture for me, baby?
Oh yeah, hang on a second.
So there's no sport in the world that takes more dedication, skill, or teamwork than the tandem bike. I mean, tandem cycling is definitely one of the best Olympic events of all time. I mean, me and Anthony Russell were training for years to make it to the Olympics for tandem cycling. We hired Mr. Palumbo to be our strength and conditioning coach. It's the only reason we started R&R taco business, and then we found out that it was removed from the Olympics in 1972. So, but if you want to catch a great Olympic event, turn to the Olympics before 1972 to witness the greatest sport of all times, or just ask me. I got hundreds of hours of me and Russ training. So, check us out. Tandem cycling, my number 2. Dad, any thoughts on tandem cycling?
Wow, I don't even know where to go from there, Ryan. Put that picture back up. I like to see that. Yeah. As you know, I'm a big fan of biking, and I do it anytime I can. Tandem biking is something I've never done, probably never will. But I will tell you, Ryan, you got to wear a helmet from now on, all right? Not wearing a helmet, very dangerous. Never know what's going to happen out there. Crazy bikers on the trail. Some of them are going 15 mile an hour. It's just you never know what's going to happen out there. But yeah, biking is, sort of been swept under the rug and doesn't get enough love. I don't think. I didn't even think about this event, but you're right, Ryan. I, I'm totally on board with this one. I especially love the batting helmet that Russ is wearing.
I think this is a great pick. My favorite Olympic events are always the ones that are a little off. They're not necessarily very straightforward, like swimming or just like fast swimming or stuff like that. So I like tandem bicycling. I was thinking about getting a tandem bicycle the other day, but I'm so good at cycling, Monica would just slow me down, so I won't let her the pleasure of reaping off the energy that I'm producing by pedaling. I feel like, hey, how do you know the other person isn't just like back there coasting, like you're in the front? Like that's kind of messed up. So, there's a lot of subterfuge that can go on if you sit in the back, which is kind of cool. I like that. Sabotaging your own teammate is something that I can get behind. So I love tandem bicycling.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he can even like turn his head to see what you're doing behind you. But I mean, I know Dad said people hate on biking. That's because they all fucking cheat. All right, we've all followed these motherfuckers, and we all get into biking, and then they fucking fool us. They just pull the rug out from under us, and we're like, "Ha ha, motherfuckers! We were cheating the whole time. That's the only way we can do this event." So we know they're all still cheating somehow. At least baseball, you know what I mean? It's just like, oh well, we've got different ways we can cheat. And I'm also kind of surprised that Ryan threw this event onto this list, considering that after you were training for so long, that once you found out it was no longer an event, Russ just has disappeared off the face of the earth. I mean, no one's even talked to him. It's kind of fucked up to kind of put the event that kind of drove him to that like on your list, but I guess it meant that much to you, so you gotta do what you gotta do. I get it.
Well, there's no coming back from the tandem bike, But let's get on our number one. Dad, you want to take us over with your number one pick?
I will. Can you bring it up there?
Yep.
Nope, that's not it. It's crucial to my speaking. And this event is something we've seen already. And Ronnie's talked a little bit about this as being one of his top events. But the 100-meter sprint for me is the one. It's the winner's the fastest man on Earth. On Earth. There's nobody else that's faster than this guy in 100 meters. And I won't belabor this point, but Ronnie talked a little bit about this also, is Usain Bolt, and an Olympian and a gold medal winner at a couple of events. He's quite a show maker. He actually had these gold cleats that he wore at the events with fastest embroidered on them. And he proved that he was the fastest man in a couple of Olympics. A little known story, though, here on the right-hand side, hopefully the picture's still up for you guys, where you have Ryan congratulating Ronnie as he's riding his horse into the wedding. And this is a little known story that, as we noted, Ryan knew that Ronnie loved Usain Bolt. So as a wedding gift for Ronnie, Ryan gave him gold pants, which you'll see there on top of his jog cords, which are his boots, obviously. And unfortunately, Ryan pointed out to me that when they embroidered the gold pants, the word fastest came up right across his crotch, which is probably not a good place for it, Ronnie. You don't want to be your fastest there. The number one pick for me, the top Olympic event, is the 100-meter sprint.
This is already on my list. I'm not gonna get too much into it, but some things that just they fall right into place, and that's probably where the word fastest came from on my crotch is very apropos. So
Yeah.
That's what we hear.
Love the track and field events. Love sprinting. I used to do a lot of sprinting when I was a kid.
Hey, what?
Used to call me Danny Fast Shoes. Was my nickname around town in Berlin Heights. No one wanted to race me. They all made fun of me. They thought I was slow, but I was really fast. Loved racing. Loved any length. The more you can, throw in 75 meters, throw in 125. Give me more. Give me more racing events, baby. I'm all about it. I'm a racing fiend. Ryan, any thoughts?
I think this is a fantastic pick for the story alone. I mean, people actually forget that Ronnie actually raced that horse in the 100-meter sprint right after this picture was taken, and he won.
It's true.
Which is just another crowning achievement in Ronnie Dar's, it's a crowning achievement in Ronnie Dar's sports career.
Wow.
So for all of you out there who hated on my number one pick for top DMV athlete, you can suck on that.
That's right.
So great number one. Yeah. So Ronnie just as good.
It is. It's just as good as, if not better, because it combines two of the greatest things in the world, running and walking. Of course, I'm talking about speed walking.
Of course you would, biathlon.
Oh, no.
Speed walking is such a great event. It's going as fast as you possibly can without going as fast as you possibly can. You have to literally do the slow action as fast as you possibly can. And the athletes of this great sport are so determined that they'll even defecate themselves, and that will not stop them. Like my boy here, Johan Diniz. He still won. No, he didn't win.
He didn't win. I already talked about this.
Didn't win. He lost. He's terrible, but someone won. And they were speed walking faster than Johan. And that's why I love speed walking. It's my new thing. I'm not running anymore. I'm just walking real fast. What's wrong with that? Ain't nothing wrong with that.
It's better on your joints. This is the human centipede of this episode, obviously. I don't understand it really. You know what I mean? I see women doing it around. Well, at least you see women doing it around Lake Artemisia all the time. I feel like most of some of the best athletes at this are actually in the mall every morning before 10 a.m. I don't understand why they don't get more props or why they don't enter. I think that they have better things to do than to go out there and play with shit. So, any thoughts, Ryan?
I think this is a fantastic pick. I remember Ronnie actually bid and won on those shorts on eBay, and he was really excited about getting those. These guys are such, just world-class athletes that they have to limit themselves. They have to walk. Because if they were running, they would just win every event. Because there's no stopping that. There's no stopping this guy from doing anything at any time. So definitely great number one, Ronnie.
Thanks, Ryan.
Ronnie, I think I have to concur with these guys. It's a good pick. This is one Olympic event. I think the men and the women could do it together. I don't know if the men are any better than the women. But one little story that Danny probably doesn't remember, but Frostburg State, where we both went, it's a small university in Western Maryland, never had an Olympic person at all, ever, except two people that were in the power walking event. And you would see them walking around town like miles and miles every day. So I like the pick.
Thanks, Chris.
Danny, you're number one.
All right, well, we'll get quickly into my number one because we've already discussed it. But yeah, Matt Elliott's making another appearance on the podcast this week. I think really because that any firefighter would be proud of that mustache. I think that this guy obviously has the physique of an athlete, a world-class athlete, I think. They got cooler versions of bowling shoes. Or maybe they're just bowling shoes. We're not sure. But if you want to know, you just go to Laurel to check them out. Curling was my number one. I love watching curling. I try to play curling video games. These dudes put spin and shit on a fucking rock that's on ice. It's insane how they can like control like a path, you know, and just and some of the things they do is just is wild. I also love it because they just said that you can have teams that can be split between men and women, so there's still a shot that me and Thea can compete together in probably like I think it'd be like 2034 or something like that, but there's a shot. I just gotta get my hip replaced and learn how to curl, but there's still an opportunity for me to do that, just like the shooting event. So curling is my number one. It is the definition of an Olympic sport. It's something that is underappreciated, but everyone needs to appreciate it at least once every 4 years. Curling, Matt Elliott, you rock, buddy. We hope you listen. You're the kind of guy we like to listen to our nut show, not that guy Drew Brees. Bring the pain, Ryan John. So you can go to your number one.
Well, I'm super excited for year 2034, and we'll see what kind of mustache you're going to be supporting.
Right.
So for my number one, it was briefly talked about, but I'm going to be a little more specific with mine. I'm going with floor gymnastics, which is probably the only sport that every time I watch it, I say, holy shit, because they just do the most crazy and insane shit of all time. I mean, it's a blank slate where they can get out there and do whatever they want. I mean, the shit is like jazz where they can just get out there and make it their own. I mean, seeing these little girls, jump, flip, do crazy shit, it's like the fucking circus. So I'd say it's definitely the most entertaining Olympic sport, maybe the only watchable Olympic sport, but it's definitely the number one Olympic sport. So that's why it's my number one. Does anyone want to comment on floor gymnastics, or have we talked about it?
I was going to comment that, what happened to the rings? The guys just standing there on the rings, just holding the rings as long as they can. That's a lot better than floor gymnastics. So
come on, put these guys on the world's strongest men or something. But that's not. I mean, what are you doing there? You're just holding your arms out. These girls jump, triple flips.
Ryan, I don't know if you know now, they have the same event, but they get batons, and they get to throw these batons up in the air and try to catch them at the same time. The shit is awesome. It's called, I think it's called floor dancing or something like that. It's a great event, another great event, but it's an actual baton they get to throw in the air. Check it out, bro.
Flag, right? Got like a ribbon on it.
Yeah,
well, I'm definitely gonna check that out. So at the end of every podcast, we usually like to end it with an ethical question. So this week's ethical question, I don't know if you mind sharing that screen for me, Ronnie.
Oh man, I'm having some technical difficulties.
Hey, steal your best friend back out of that deal. So ethically speaking, is it okay to back out of a deal that you agreed upon with your best friend? So, Dad, we're going to take it to you. What's your answer?
I would say you got to have your best friends back at all points in time, and you just find a way to make that happen. Just my thoughts. It's if you can't, look to your homies and your best friends for support. I don't know. It just seems like sometimes maybe that connection's even better than a marriage. I hate to say that, but so I don't know that Ronnie should be, just doing that so lightly. I mean, he has to give some thought to the fact that you are best friends.
I mean, I feel like we're missing the whole point. Dad missed the whole point. Ronnie obviously disrespected the emoji. If there's a handshake emoji there at the end, if you didn't agree with the handshake emoji, you need to specify that you didn't agree. Otherwise, one of those hands in that handshake is your hand, sir. So you got to respect the emoji. So in this case, got to just give it to Ryan. You got to respect the emoji.
Ronnie?
All right, as y'all know, I'm a man of my word. I've never backed down from a challenge or a bet ever. But these are uncertain times, and after much consideration, as I talked it over with me and my family, the coronavirus is too great, the threat is too real. And I never backed out. I just said I couldn't do it right now because of the coronavirus. So technically, I never said no. But also, technically, I never returned the handshake or emoji. So really, we never really had a bet. But I'll honor it anyways because that's how honorable of a man I am. So I'll honor something that isn't even to be honored. So to answer your question, it is 100% not okay, and I never have.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Ronnie. It's not okay. It's the lowest. It's the lowest thing you can do. Not hurting me, Ronnie. You're hurting the fans. All the sick little boys out there sitting at home with the Rona, tuning into our show to try to brighten their day a little more. That's who you're hurting.
Aunt Bonnie really wanted this, Ronnie.
Yeah, I don't know. Andy Bonnie might not like this, Ron.
Well,
Everybody's on my side.
That is, she is on your side. So that's going to wrap us up for this week or volume 17 of Top 5 Everything. Chris, you want the last word?
I just very much appreciate you asking me, Ryan and Dan and Ron. It was fun. I enjoyed doing it. You guys are great.
Well, that's going to take us out of this week, and we'll see everyone for volume 18 next week.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Bye-bye.